Hello again, everyone. Hope you were well on this Thursday afternoon. Sorry, no video yesterday. It was a long day, y'all. Not a bad day, but just a very long day. Every Wednesday, my caseload is, let us say, what's the word for it? Challenging, daunting. Not bad. It's not bad, but it's long. And at the end of that day, it's like, man, I'm just wiped out, physically, mentally, in all ways, because we drive around a lot. That'll wear you out, just driving. But doing the things that we do, that's a whole nother game right there. But yeah, I won't go any further. I won't share anymore. But anyway, I have a couple things to cover, big ones. We have a serious situation evolving geopolitically right now that is very serious. It is an emergency, and it truly is. I'm not exaggerating. I'll go into that. Not many people are talking about this. We need to keep an eye on this. Woo, big time. I have a terrific passage I'm going to share with you towards the end of the video. Stay tuned for that. But first, kind of a continuation a little bit from my last video. The big hurt is coming. Y'all, and of course it brings out some trolls. Usually on a video that gets more views than usual, they kind of come out of the woodwork a bit. But I think the title of it was The Big Hurt is Coming. I think the big hurt's already here. We've been dealing with it. I believe it could very well get worse, y'all, before it gets better. I think it will get better. It could take some time, all right? Somebody commented in a video a couple of videos ago. It might have been the last one. I can't remember. I think the comment went something like, most of the world is on fire and most are not noticing it. I think that's true. Literal fire, literally. I didn't even know about these. There's been wildfires in the state of New Jersey, Tennessee, and there may be some others I didn't even hear about. I'm not sure I can remember a season or a year where we had so many wildfires and they go on this long without containment. Like, I see a report that says zero containment. How is that happening? How are they starting? And the locations are interesting. They've been in a lot of locations, y'all. So we have that going on. We have a lot of hot spots in the world. I'm going to go into that in a minute. But just a continuation of the hurt, y'all. And there was another comment. I think I pinned it. It said that people can't save. They it's getting to where, and it's just more every year. It don't matter who's in charge. It don't matter who's, it just seems that way. The cost of living. People can't save. They can't put some money back. They can't pay down. It's getting very difficult to pay down any debt. We're all trying it. Some are, situations are different than others. It's getting more difficult to buy an automobile, much less a home. Food, gas, housing, energy, utilities, being able to retire. I've heard from some of you, and even in the comments, you're like, well, I was retired and I had to go back to work. Now, if you're just going back to work because you need something to do and you love it and you need it, that's different. But no, we got to pay for these extra bills, the higher energy costs, the insurance costs, the homeowners insurance, the property taxes. It just goes on and on. A health emergency. I had to go back to work. It shouldn't be that way in this country, y'all. It should not be that way. You work all these years. Miss Dog and I know we're just one example, but we've been working since like early 80s, like 80. I think Miss Dog was working before that. But I started like in 82, 81, part-time, even in school. And, you've been solid since then. You shouldn't still have to be working, y'all. You shouldn't be working. We shouldn't have to, unless we want to. But anyway, I digress. trying to retire. I was listening to a podcast where they're like, hey, I voted for Trump. I'm still going to support him. I'm taking a wait and see attitude. That's kind of the way I'm doing. But talk is cheap. We need to see some freaking action. I know he's taking action on something, the border, the deportations, and two genders. And all, that's cool, and the education. But things seem chaotic, okay? That can work on people. And like where are the indictments? Where are the arrests? I think the natives are going to get more restless as time goes on, and we don't see indictments, we don't see arrests. We got Kash Patel in the CIA. We have or FBI. We have Dan Bongino with him, and it's just been quiet. It's been very quiet. Maybe they're doing their thing. I don't know. We got Bondi as DOJ. Where are the indictments? Where are they? People are going to get pissed. They're going to get pissed. They're going to lose confidence. So, and then there was another comment. There's so many good comments. I tell people, look through the comments. They're awesome. Remember when you used to be able to fill up your grocery cart, y'all? I remember that. When's the last time? Now, as preppers, sometimes we do. You got to be careful with that too. But when's the last time you really filled up the grocery cart, like filled it up, to where you almost needed a second one? I mean, think about that for a minute. Think about it. And when I saw that comment, I'm like, man, I ain't even thought about that. But it's so true. Now it's like a third of the cart, and that's freaking $200-$300. So when's the last time you filled up your cart? I mean, really. It's estimated that 27% of Americans have no savings, zero savings, y'all. 27%. It's probably more than that. 43% would have to rely on credit cards or loans or family or friends in an emergency financial situation. 43%, y'all. 41%, it's estimated 41% of Americans cannot handle, or not equipped to handle, $1,000 emergency, y'all. Think about that for a moment. 41%. You're approaching half of the U.S. population can't handle $1,000 emergency. 50%, it's probably more, 50% of Americans have $500 or less saved for an emergency, y'all. Take away the credit cards, where are we? Take away the loans, high interest, low interest, don't matter. Where are we? We're probably somewhere below the depression of the Great Depression. We're on a razor's edge, y'all. Wouldn't take much to tip it to where it's a very serious, even more serious situation, a true crisis, SHTF. Personal financial SHTFs, y'all. Talk's cheap, isn't it? Now, on a bit of good news, I did see, I saw something a while ago, right before I started recording this, where Toyota is announcing that they're going to invest, I think, like 88 billion or 88 million, maybe, I can't remember, $88 million in some more assembly lines in West Virginia. I think that's good news. We need to see a lot more of that. That stuff will take time, At some point, and you got to get going on it. We got to be, this country, individually, family, but this country too has to be more sustainable. It's got to be. No reason why we can't. No reason why we can't. I know. I say that much. Very bad. We had a very serious situation developing, y'all, in Pakistan, India. Now you'd be like, dog, I don't care, but listen, hear me out. Now, you know anything about Pakistan and India have been traditional, they've been long-term adversaries, all right? They're both nuclear powers now. They both have nuclear weapons. They're usable, all right? Had a situation a couple of days ago where some folks from India were hanging out or picnicking, whatever you want to call it, along the border right there between Pakistan and India is the disputed part. They were attacked by people from Pakistan. That's the report from Pakistanis. It's a bad situation. You had like over 20 lose their life and many other injured. A serious bad situation. Well, India is taking some action. Now, they've had an unstable relationship for quite a while. India ordered all of its citizens out of Pakistan. Not a good sign. India also expelled all Pakistanis out of India. This has been happening over the last couple of days. This has been on my radar since 2 days ago, since yesterday. I didn't make a video yesterday. Very few people are talking about this, y'all. I don't see it on the main any of the main medias, at least so far. I did see where Southern Prepper Ones talked about it, I think, today. My buddy Prepper Now did talk about it earlier today a bit. I had a good video on it. But we got naval buildup now. It looks like India especially, they're super pissed. Understand why. India is mobilizing their military, y'all. Naval buildup. Pakistan has closed its airspace to India. It seems like things are breaking down. Now they're starting to talk, but, you know, again, both are nuclear powers. They've had a strained relationship throughout history. They've had skirmishes, you know, recent history. This is the kind of thing that could spiral quickly. Now, if this thing spiraled into a war between those two big nations, those are two big nations. This could have ramifications globally, immediately. I mean, think about all the hot spots we do have. We got the Middle East. We got Eastern Europe. We've got China, Taiwan, and we got the Pacific. There's a lot going on. You can add this one to the mix. But this is a serious situation. I don't know. We'll see how. Hopefully, this starts to tamp down. You know, but it's not looking good right now the way it's going. Hopefully, it changes. So we'll keep an eye on this one. I was watching a video. I don't even remember who it was, and they were saying, you know, it just looks like the world is gearing up for WW3, or at least an acceleration or a ramp up of WW3. We're probably, you know, for all intents and purposes, we are already in it, have been in it. But it just seems like many countries are gearing up even more so right now. So, and it does seem that way. It really does. It's like they've forgotten what it's like, you know. It'd be horrible, except for this, you know, World War II, you didn't have, you know, nuclear weapons were just being discovered, really, or being able to, not really discovered, but in a way, you know, you only had really the United States right at that time being able to use one, or willing to use one, you know, against Japan. But now you got, you know, a fair amount of countries that have that power, so it's different now. And if something breaks out, that we are we're directly involved in things right now, especially in Yemen. But a lot of people don't think that it can touch us here. It can absolutely touch us right here on our soil, big time. It sure would. It sure would. All right, but anyway, let's keep our preps up. Keep our preps up, especially with an eye towards what if we lose power long term. What if we lose power long term? You know, if you're an adversary of the United States, if I'm an enemy, you know, I'm thinking I don't necessarily have to put a hypersonic missile on one of their cities. I just gotta cut the power. If I cut the power, that's all I gotta do. If I can cut the power and keep it off, these people are gonna fight amongst themselves. Or would we? I think it would be tough. I think especially in your high density, your big cities. I think it would be seriously ugly. It would be horrifying, I believe. Depending on where you are, maybe it could be a little better in some areas. I don't know. Anyway, enough doom, I guess. I'm going to go to a passage. But let's just keep our preps up, y'all, as much as we can. Self-defense, too, y'all. Security, your food, water, provisions. All right, here we go. We're going in, I think this is the verse of the day on the Bible app, but 1 Corinthians chapter 3, verse 7 says, "So neither the one who plants nor the one who waters is anything but God who causes the growth." God causes the growth. We can plant the seeds, but it's God who's going to really do the work. He's going to cause the growth. It's not all on us, y'all. Like when you share your faith, or it's not like you've got to beat them over the head and take out their hearing with the horn, with the bullhorn. You ain't got to necessarily do that. You ain't got to do that. Share your faith. Plant the seed. He takes care of it. It works. I've seen it work. I have. So don't be afraid to do that. You don't have to say a whole lot either. Share just a little bit of your faith and be confident when you say it. And then, even if you get pushback, stand firm. You don't even have to say much in response. You don't have to say anything. Just say, "Bless you. God bless you." Think about it. Pray about it. And pray for them. He's the one that will do the heavy lifting. We ain't got to do it. We're not alone in this. Keep that in mind. Hope that gives you confidence. Hope that makes sense. Like I said, let's keep our preparations up. Let's be safe when we're out and about. Be alert. All right. Share your thoughts. Stay close to Jesus. God bless y'all. I'll see you soon.